Today is April the 8th, 2021, and we are here today with Amarillo Independent School Board of Trustees candidate Kayla Mendez. Kayla, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's start off by telling the voters who you are and why you're running for the school board.
Okay. I feel like I've answered this question so much here recently. People are probably tired of hearing me. So Kayla Mendez, I'm wasn't born here, but I was raised here. I was born in Japan, actually, because my dad was in the Air Force. But they moved the family back here to Amarillo, and I've been here ever since. So I'm a product of Aisd. I went to Oakdale Elementary School, then went to Bowie, and then graduated from Caprock in 2010. So after Caprock, I went to Texas Tech University and got my bachelor's in chemical engineering. Really enjoyed. I love school, so it was a good time. And it was great to be kind of close to home. After that, I started out at the Pantex plant and have been there ever since. It's been a great opportunity. While being at work, I decided I wanted to go back to school and learn some more. So I went to WT and got my master's in finance and economics. And so the reason I even went for the appointment, applied for the appointment 2 years ago, was a teacher, 6th or 7th grade science teacher, messaged me on Facebook and said, "There's a spot open. Would you consider putting your name in?" And I sat there and thought about it, and I was like, "Well, this is crazy. Somebody's reaching out to me all these years later and is asking me to consider running for the school board." And so I talked to my husband, and I thought about it, prayed about it, and I said, if this is where God wants me to be next, then this is what it'll be. I said, I'm going to put my name in and see what happens. And so I had the honor of them choosing me and appointing me to the board almost 2 years ago. And it's been such a great experience. I've been getting to see the other side of teaching. I remember what it was like to be when I was a student, and now learning about all of the legislation and the different aspects that go into teaching, the TEKS and all of these words that you don't even know about as a kid. It's a lot, and it's just, there's a true testament to what teachers have to go through to educate students around here. So I just wanted to continue on with that and continue on what the board's already been doing and continue to serve.
So who appointed you to the school board? The other school board members made that decision?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was me along with David Nance. At that time, there was 2 spots open. And so we put in resumes, and they would look through them all, made sure we were, part of the county and everything like that. And then they narrowed it down from there. And we did interviews.
Well, that's interesting. And then Doyle Corder was also appointed, wasn't he?
Correct. After
but
Christine
that was
resigned.
A different time.
Yes. A few months later.
So they've appointed 3.
Yes.
And all 3 of you are running for reelection.
Yes. So we finish out the rest of their term that they had, were voted in for.
So y'all didn't have to run for it this time. You were appointed, and now you're running.
Right. Correct.
So what do you, as a member of the school board, what is your role in the community? Why don't you explain that to the voters as to what your role is as a member of the school board? I
think we had some training on things, so it's kind of made things more clear to me about what a board means and what it does. And the best word I can use is governance. We choose who the superintendent is, and we make sure they're doing what they need to do, but they run the day-to-day. And so what we're after is governing and making sure the policy and things like that are set, making sure that we approve the budget and things like that. As far as our role in the community, I think it's important for us as a governing body to listen and to hear what the constituents want, what the parents want, what the community wants and needs. So high level governing, our role is not to get into the day-to-day and push things, but to just govern in a basic sense.
Make sure the superintendent's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Correct.
And you have the power to fire him or hire his replacement.
Correct.
And also, do you set the tax rates for the school district?
We vote on it. So the day-to-day operations, that's pretty much set in stone, but the sinking fund and things like that, we can have slight adjustments to. But most of that's kind of pretty much set, but we do vote on that. We can't just increase it because we want to get more money to pay for new things. It'll have to happen with like a bond election. And things
Right,
like
then you'd have to propose it, and
Yes.
it would be it had to be approved by the school board, and then
that.
it would go to the voters for approval.
Correct.
Very good. So what do you see as some of the great things, the good things that the Amarillo School District's been doing?
I'm so super, super excited about our new career academy that's being built and first section will be open this fall. Amtech. I was fortunate to attend ACAL, and I had such a great experience at ACAL. I did the medical part, and I got to be in on surgeries and see different things of the medical field and learn a lot. And I had wonderful, wonderful teachers. They were so caring, and they really taught us a lot just about medical, but just life skills and things. And so I had such a wonderful experience there. And so now to see this expansion into, dentistry and pharmaceutical, and I mean, all these, and even the trades, to have it all in one spot. I'm super excited to see what that will provide for our students and provide ultimately into the community. But we're building those partnerships so that these students can move into the desperately needed, especially trades that's needed in this area. I work at the Pantex plant, so trades, there's never enough. We're always looking to hire more and fill those spots, and there's a lot of work that happens out there. So I get to see that side of it, and so I definitely know how much trade and things are needed. So that's one of the things I'm super, super excited about is having this opportunity for kids. I think even if they don't know what they want to do, if they think they might have an inkling of something, it gives them the opportunity to see if they like it. And if they don't, then they can move on and try something else. And ultimately that gives them a little bit of direction when they leave high school to see what they want to do. Some of the other things that I've seen progressed since I was in school to now is just the Thrive Scholarship. I was fortunate to have Aisd. I didn't use it, but I had that opportunity to use it if I needed to, and that's expanded now and it's changed into the Thrive Scholarship. So if the kids don't have they don't go to a 4-year and they want to go to AC, they have the opportunity to either start there and then finish out at WT, and it's paid for. So I think that's a great opportunity that is happening across all 4 schools, for them to have the opportunity if they want to go to school or do a certificate or whatever it is they want, they have the opportunity to do so. And another thing is, I don't know, maybe people don't think about it, but snack pack for kids and the ability for kids to have food over the weekend if they need it. That wasn't quite started yet when I was in school. So I think that's been great when you hear about how many kids rely on that and need it. It makes you rethink and be grateful that you get to sit at home and eat every day when there's some kids that don't have that ability to do that. So there's a lot of things, but those are some of my big things that I like, that I'm excited about.
So the Thrive program, that's where if they graduate from Amarillo Aisd, they can go to Amarillo College for 2 years, 60 hours, and it's paid for?
Yes, there's certain requirements that they have to meet and keep up their grades and things like that. But yes, it's paid for, and it's last money. So if they get any scholarships or financial aid, those will all go to it first, and then they'll cover whatever's left for them to go to school.
So who pays for that?
So ultimately, it comes out of our budget, so it'd be taxpayer money.
So the taxpayers are paying for it, so they need to use it.
Yes. And recent numbers that we actually had that were presented, I think, 2 school board meetings ago, I think it was about 200 kids from every school that were attending about AC, I think, which I think is some really great numbers that were
I would think there'd be more than that. I mean, it may get bigger as time goes on once people understand it.
It's true. And I think sometimes kids feel hesitant they get nervous, they get scared. I mean, it's normal. What am I going to do after school? And everybody asks them, yeah, graduation's here, now what? And sometimes you don't know right away. So I think making sure that they maybe find an avenue, start out with your basics or something till you figure out what you want to do, encouragement and just talking with them can bring those numbers up if they want to pursue that.
But the program that you're talking about at the old Hastings building, that's called Amtech.
Amtech. Mm-hmm.
So that can really help kids understand what they like and don't like. So that could save them a lot of money and a lot of time.
And for some of them, they can graduate with certificates and actually move straight into the workforce. So that is great. When I went to ACAL, I did my CNA certification. So I had a job that I actually used when I went to college. While I was able to do a CNA job and kind of help pay for part of the things that I needed while I was in school. And so that was a huge opportunity to be able to leave school and have something to put in on my resume.
Well, we need tradespeople. It's very difficult. I know I'm not unique trying to find plumbers and heating and air people and welders and mechanics and just people that are willing to do manual labor. It's very difficult to find them because, of course, we have the federal government trying to skew the market on all that.
Yeah.
So that's another problem, but hopefully that issue will go away and people will have to get back to work. But it's really hurting businesses because they can't find people.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. And the price goes up, right?
Yeah.
They're in such hot commodity that.
Well, labor is the biggest input cost in any business. So if you have to pay higher labor costs, that's going to go into higher rent costs and higher everything costs.
And with all the natural disasters that we've had within these past few years, construction is seeing a huge, need and for more laborers and more workers.
Yeah.
So definitely need to catch back up. I think it's finding that balance. We've seen that, you had a lot of people that did a lot of trades. That's just what you did. And then we pushed to go to school. And it was go to school. So now I've got to find that balance of going to school and pursuing trades and trying to find that balance so that we can keep everything, even and meet the needs across.
Yeah,
businesses.
they push so many people into a 4-year degree that it doesn't mean near as much.
Right.
So the skilled tradesman can actually make a lot more money than the person that had a 4-year degree.
That's exactly right. And and it's knowing what you want to do. I think part of what my thought process when I was going to school was, for one, going for something that I love, but also thinking about, can I live with knowing do I know what the market is? Am I going to be able to find a job? Am I comfortable with what that salary is, or, things like that? There's some things that you do you do because you love it. And if you can deal with that, then that's great. And, but sometimes it is, kind of, you have to be smart and pay attention to what's going on in the area, in the country, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we want engaged people. So what do you see as some of the challenges that the Aisd faces, and what ideas do you have in order to help solve them?
So part of the goals that we have set on the school board when I first started was, the 3 priorities we had was safety and security, or safety. Here I am doing work. Safety, closing the achievement gap, and then CCR, which is the career, CCMR, career and college and military readiness. I think especially with the events of this last year, closing the achievement gap is going to be a big one, and probably it's going to be a little tough as we kind of navigate all the changes and things that we had to stand up within this last year. Figuring out, where does virtual learning, how does technology play into everything? How do we best utilize it where it's not becoming the method, but it can just help the teachers. So I think trying to find that balance and figuring out where that stands and using that to leverage closing that achievement gap is going to be, I think it'll be a little bit of a challenge, but I think we can rise to it. With technology, there's so many new methods and ways to see what's happening, see what's going on, what the kids are learning, where there's some gaps that need to be filled in. So I think it's moving in the right direction for sure. And part of the new plan for the next year for the schedule was to allow more staff development days. so that teachers can actually have days built in where they can do training, go to training, and be able to go back and focus on their lessons and learning and things like that, which I think will really help them be more prepared to be able to work and focus on where those gaps are and help these kids reach that.
Yeah, that's interesting. But, we have technology, and it's a great thing, but it's a tool.
Right.
Right? It's not the end-all, be-all. At the end of the day, it's about people.
It is. It is. And I'm so grateful that our students were able to start back to school this fall, when a lot of kids across the country haven't had that opportunity. There's nothing like seeing your teacher face-to-face, seeing your friends face-to-face, and just getting that daily interaction and learning those social life skills.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is good for some people, and others, they can't thrive in that, and they need to be in a classroom. And I think the best place to learn is in a classroom.
Yeah, but the students need that interaction. They need to learn how to resolve conflicts and get into conflicts. Yes. That's how we learn.
It is. It is very, very true. Being able to say your feelings and understand and get that out in a right manner and like you said, resolve things it's important. And they don't learn unless you go through it and get to experience it. Yeah.
Some things you have to learn by doing.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I think probably we need to really understand, and I think most of the people watching this probably looked up to their teachers. And teachers are probably the most important part of the whole piece of the whole puzzle. So having good, competent teachers is a skill set that very few people possess. So having those good teachers in the classroom is something I think the people of Amarillo really need to be proud of.
I definitely agree. I can attest that I've had some amazing teachers and coaches, and truly their faith in me and just truly the love that they gave me, it allowed me to be who I am and where I am at right now. They were always so supportive, and even after high school, coming to my graduations and hanging up, my announcements and things, they were so proud, and that made me feel good and want to do more and do better. We take care of they're with students 8+ hours a day. They're with them when parents aren't. So you're right. It's very vital, the role that teachers play, and it's not just teaching. It's that love, that attention, and sometimes that coaching, that life coaching.
Well, the teachers and the students develop a bond.
They do, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
And I believe we need to get better as a district about community involvement, and listening to what the community wants and what the community needs. And I'd like to see that grow. And it's likewise on our part to reach out and for the community and parents to reach back also and help, whenever they can. And for the most part, there is always parents willing. And you can just imagine how much more we could achieve if all collectively came in, even more so than we already do, both sides. I think we can achieve even more than what we already have.
So at the end of the day, it's about community involvement, being engaged in their schools and their children's education. And that's probably why, have disparities in different like the Hispanic community and the Black community. Apparently their children are not doing as well. But that probably comes back to community engagement a little bit. So how can we encourage those people to take more interest in educating and being a part of that school?
And we've heard it a few times, or not a few times, quite a few times. Communication. Mm-hmm. We've talked about it at previous board meetings. We try as best we can, but I think getting it out there, letting them know what's going on, that the things that are going on at the school, the things that their kids need. actually making that, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So if we can reach out and make those bonds and make sure that they understand what's going on, what's needed. Communication is a barrier. If you don't have it there, it prevents you from being able to do anything. And good communication is hard. It is hard, and it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of effort on both parts. You can put it out all you want to also, but on the other side, you have to be receiving it. That's communicating. So, but definitely getting out more. I think just letting them, how can you help? What can you do to be involved? What do you need? That kind of thing is, I think, at least a good start.
So we have, the children in our school system learning English for these first generation students. So, but the problem is their parents may not be speaking the language. So, I mean, that could create a big detriment for that child. So maybe we need the parents in the classroom learning English along with them.
It's very true. Both Sanborn and Humphreys Highland are dual language schools, and so the kids actually get to continue to learn and then also transition into English. And it's been, from talking with both those principals from my campus visit, they said it's just been, once they get to that point and they just excel. They just do great because they weren't thrown into something they just didn't know. They got that chance to learn, and they catch on so well. So it's such a great opportunity for kids to be able to build that way. And ultimately they end up somewhat teaching their parents at the end of the day, and sometimes being the translator for them and helping them kind of learn to that. But
well, I think that's why, there's been efforts in the past to try to make it English the official language, and they don't want that because they think that's bad. But the reason they want that is so that forces those people to learn English so that they can get ahead and be productive members of society. But if we start printing everything in all these different languages, there's no reason to learn English, and that holds them back.
And it's the testament. I mean, when you're able to know multiple languages, it does wonders for you intellectually. And I think a lot of hesitancy is sometimes you just feel like you're forgetting your culture, or you're letting go of your culture, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, my grandmother that pretty much only spoke Spanish, and she learned English as she went along. But it was she lived here her whole life. She became a citizen, but some of that just tied her back to being home, being able to speak Spanish. And so I can see sometimes it being kind of scary and resistant to wanting to, fully become absorbed into the American English language.
The culture.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing to say they can't.
Oh, no, not whatsoever.
Other,
I guess I can just see the other side of why they don't want to. But definitely it can only help them be even better than they already are.
We want them to be fluent in all languages.
Right.
But especially English, because that's what's going to help them get ahead in America. But if they want to, that's not to say that they can't use their home language. Yep. I just think it helps them.
Oh, I definitely agree. And
because that's how you create division.
Right.
And people are tribal. We're all that way. We want to be around people like us, so we're going to hang out with people that we can easier communicate with. It's just it's human nature.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure.
You have to kind of force some things on people to force them to learn it, so it benefits them in the long run.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we just want everybody to get ahead.
Definitely. And being able to do that definitely helps them get there.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell the voters about why you're running and why they should vote for you?
I just, from the bottom of my heart, I really wanted to serve. And I mean, I've been really enjoyed being on the school board and getting to, like I said, learn the other side of everything that goes on. The budgets, which is a crazy, massive amount of numbers, but just knowing how much effort and time and care that takes to make sure things are going where they need to go, and appropriating what you need to do and planning ahead for the future. those were just is amazing experience. So no matter what happens, this election, it's been a privilege, and I've been super grateful to be a part of the board this past 2 years. But I truly want to serve. I truly want to help. I love our district a lot. Like I said, I've had such amazing teachers and great experiences in school that helped me after leaving. And so I believe in the district. I believe in what we can achieve, and that can only go up from where we are today. So I just appreciate any consideration to vote for me.
You might explain to the voters how this process works, because it's a little bit different than typical, because
Yes,
it's
it is.
cumulative voting. So they have four
votes
because there's 4 places open,
Correct.
and you run for 4-year terms.
Yes.
And so every 4 years you have 4 places open.
Yes, and then so it's the next time it'll be 3. There's 7.
There's 7 spots.
Yes.
That's right.
So this year will be 4, and then the next 2 years will be the next 3. So yes, you can vote 4 times, all for me, or you can split them up amongst different candidates.
Okay. Do you have a website or?
I don't
Facebook?
yet. I'm getting my Facebook up and running. I'll have that up here soon.
Okay. Very good. Well, we thank you for coming by, and good luck.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. This has been great.
All right. Thank you.